Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest faiths on Earth. It's got nothing to do with Zorro, I just like dressing up as him. Although there are only 200,000 of them worldwide, some of them are quite famous, including the Queen. No, not our Queen, that Queen. That Mercury bloke.
I want to break free.
Okay, so Freddie Mercury was certainly the most flamboyant follower of the faith, but who are the Zoroastrians and what do they believe? The religion was founded over 2,500 years ago by the prophet Zarathustra in Persia, which is modern-day Iran. Their scriptures are called the Avesta and are based on a set of songs called the Gathas. They worship the good god in fire temples, so called because it's an eternal burning flame which is symbolic of Ahura Mazda. Okay, so Freddie's no longer with us, but we've come to meet a real-life Zoroastrian celebrity, and it's not often you get to say those two words in the same sentence. I give you Nina Wadia.
You know, if you all had porridge, it would make my life much easier.
Nina is best known for her roles in Goodness Gracious Me and the new BBC sitcom All About Me.
If you all had porridge, it would make... It's not famous. I said if you all had porridge, it would make my life much, much easier.
So Nina, Zoroastrian, can you just explain a little bit about what you guys represent?
Zoroastrianism, at the core of religion, really, it's three principles, it's three ideals. And the three ideals are good thoughts, good words, good deeds. And the whole thing about Zoroastrianism, as a kid, right, you're told, we are here on earth for good to fight evil.
Right.
And you have to be as good a person as you can be. It's super bad. It's a great religion because it means that you're not so bound by, you know, rules and things.
And if you've done wrong, for example, like
Yes.
for example, like Christianity, you go to confession.
Yeah.
How do you guys reconcile that then?
That is up to us to deal with. That's the thing about religion, because it's our own choices. It's our responsibility to make sure that we deal with whatever we've done. And you know, when I was little, growing up in India, by the age of 2, I knew a whole bunch of prayers, a whole set of prayers.
Right.
And there are these sort of basic prayers that you say. They're called the Yathau Veriona Shembahu, and basically, I remember if I kind of did something naughty, my mum would say, "Go and say Tu Yathau Veriona Shembahu."
Oh, okay.
So there is
Right,
that
like a penance,
equivalent,
yeah.
You have a nojot when you're like 8 and 9. It's the equivalent of it's called a nojot,
Right.
equivalent of a bar mitzvah.
Okay,
So you're
yeah.
initiated into the religion. And at the age of 8 and 9, you know, girls especially are a bit conscious of their bodies. So you have to be bathed and clothed by the priest, but you come out wearing just this thin white vest, and then you tie a kasti around you 3 times, you know, as part of the ceremony of being initiated into it.
Yeah.
The white vest, which is called sadro, is meant to signify purity, and the string, you know, protection against evil. And when we did those prayers, I was so embarrassed because my school friends came, but I was 9 and I was wearing this see-through one.
Oh, yeah.
It's meant to be a huge day, obviously, you know. And when I went into acting, I found that really awkward, as you can imagine. Because you go into wardrobe and they want to dress you for something, you're like, oh, how do I fit my sadro under the halter neck? And the wardrobe mistress was like, well, you take it off. So that was actually quite difficult for me when I first went into the profession, because I wore my sadro and kasti right up until, you know...
All the time?
Yeah, all the time. You wear it all
I
the
didn't
time.
realise, so you have to wear it all the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the oldest religion, or one of the oldest religions, but what about the fact there's so few of you? I mean, there are actually more Bengal tigers than Zoroastrians. You're officially an endangered species.
We are an endangered species, which is why we procreate constantly
well done.
and endlessly.
Takes our religion very seriously. Nina Wadia. Your baby's due in December, which is very exciting. Will you bring up your baby in the same way that you were brought up in India?
I will try and do it as close to the way that my parents did. But as you can imagine, things are very different here.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have fire temples as such in this country. So if I could kind of take the kid out there to a proper fire temple that's out in India or in Iran to show them, you know, where they're from and, you know, tell them more about the culture that way, I would do. But generally, in terms of prayers and things, and in terms of, you know, making sure they have a good nojot and things like that, I would love to do it.
So that was Nina Wadia, but I wonder if any of the British public know anything about the Zoroastrians. Have you ever heard of a Zoroastrian?
No, never heard of it.
A what?
A Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
No.
Zoroastrians.
No.
Oldest religion on earth?
No.
Zorro, Spanish?
Zorro, Masker Zorro. Wasn't he the guy that did the thing in the...
What are they? Astronauts? I don't know. What are they?
They weren't much help, were they? So to find out more about the Zoroastrians, we've come to the European headquarters. And you can't exactly miss it, can you? And it will be familiar because this is where the sitcom Eyes Down was filmed.
67. 2 and 7.
We spoke with Nina and she mentioned the fire temple. This isn't a fire temple here, but I believe that you are planning to build a fire temple next to this building.
Yes.
Will it be a gas flame or will it be a...
No, it will be a natural wood-burning flame.
Right.
But again, not like a bonfire, because conservation is good.
And so why does fire have such significance for you?
Fire is the divine spark of life. Without fire, nobody can live. We need fire to live. At the same time, you see, fire is also important that, for instance, it's a specific way of, we tend to look at fire as like, for instance, say, the Christians look at the crucifix, or the Muslims look at the Mecca, the Kaaba at Mecca, to be specific.
Sure. So tell me, what is the ultimate goal for Zoroastrians?
The goal of a Zoroastrian, or all of human creation, is to make sure that evil is annihilated at the end of time. And Zoroastrians are optimistic that evil will be annihilated.
Well, let me ask you this then. Are we doing better than we were?
Absolutely.
Well, I certainly applaud your optimism. I just perhaps a bit more sceptical.
Now, it depends, you see, how you look at a cup. Do you look at half empty or do you look at half full? This is what it is about.
Malcolm, we're here for a feast tonight. Tell us what's going to happen here.
Okay, what the feast today is basically called Jashn-e-Mehergan. It's the autumn, is virtually coming up to the autumn equinox.
Right.
But what we see here is basically a Jashn ceremony, which is a Thanksgiving ceremony.
In the Jashn ceremony, the priests consecrate the fruit by acting as a conductor for the spirit. It passes from the fire through them into the offering, and the food is then shared out amongst the congregation. So there we have it, folks. Zoroastrianism is about doing good deeds. We need to do good. So I think we can all start. If you're watching this, tomorrow morning's Monday, you're on a train, you find yourself with a seat, I want you to give it up. I can't see that happening.